Ladies and gentlemen, well, he met with a known racist and a known white supremacist and known anti-Semitic leader. So I'm going to highlight a few things. Initially, Republicans refused to denounce Donald Trump, and all of the emphasis connected to the GOP. Will the GOP denounce Donald Trump? And then some members of the GOP did, but we skipped a point. Where was the cancellation of Donald Trump? Did the corporations denounce Donald Trump? Did they decide to say no more to their affiliation with Donald Trump? No, and I'm going somewhere with this point. All right, let's go to the first video. Here's what McConnell said.
Leader McConnell, in light of what you said, that there's no room in your party for anyone who harbors these anti-Semitic views, if Donald Trump wins the Republican nomination, would you support him?
Look, let me just say again, there is simply no room in the Republican Party for anti-Semitism or white supremacy. That would apply to all of the leaders in the party who will be seeking offices.
Him lying. All right, so now Mitch McConnell has said, oh, the party doesn't have room for white supremacists. What? You elected Donald Trump. You then refused to criticize Donald Trump when he A, gave power, gave legitimacy to white supremacist leaders, and B, decided to protect white supremacist gangsters who were involved in killing and harassment and terrorism. You did that, McConnell. You protected him. Every time Donald Trump had a blunder like that, every time Donald Trump engaged in racist affiliation, you hopped your happy ass on television to defend him. That's what you did. We have the tapes. It's amazing to me that McConnell can say no room in the Republican Party for white supremacists. Sir, all white supremacists who vote, they vote for y'all. They don't vote for the other side. Virtually 100% of known white supremacists, they support the Republican or conservative platform. There's more. Let's put up this triple team here, all right? Donald Trump met with Holocaust-denying extremist and Kanye West. So you got Nick Fuentes and Kanye West. Let's break down the difference. This trend is obvious. I'm talking about some of the backlash is obvious in reactions from people like ex-Vice President Mike Pence and some top lawmakers over Trump's dinner at his Florida resort last week with white supremacist Nick Fuentes. It was also visible earlier this month in critiques of the ex-president after many of his election-denying candidates flamed out in the midterm elections and suggested that he could again doom Republicans in a general election in 2024. McCarthy, who's the new House leader, emerged from a meeting at the White House with congressional leaders and condemned Fuentes and his rhetoric, but misleadingly implied that Trump had also repeatedly condemned his guest as well. Trump did not condemn Nick Fuentes. Marjorie Taylor Greene was a keynote speaker at the actual white supremacist rally in Florida, organized by who? Nick Fuentes. On the weekend he organized that rally was the same weekend and same location as the CPAC convention. Yes, why did he do this? Was it a conflict? Of course not. He knew that the white supremacists would already be at CPAC. And so he organized his white supremacist rally at the place where white supremacists were already at. It saved them another trip, is what it did. So now let's go to Kanye. I criticize Kanye for his actions, for his rhetoric. I have no love for Kanye in this aspect. I've been criticizing Kanye for a while. I criticized him when he said slavery was a choice. I criticized him for his comments about George Floyd committing suicide. And I criticized him for his anti-Semitic speech, calling on DEFCON 3 for Jewish people. But look at what happened with Kanye. Kanye was canceled. His affiliations were broken, his endorsements gone, contracts eliminated. What happened to Trump when he decided to take out an anti-Semitic leader to dinner? Not very much. Just context for you to understand that even when two men are wrong, the white male bounces back in ways that the black male cannot. And the sentiment is there and understood by many. Our point is this: wrong is wrong, no matter who does it, period, even if it's Trump. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Ringling Brothers, Dr. Richey, they retired the circus about 5 years ago. We know who they gave the big top to. There's all the room in the world in the Republican Party. And that's why Mitch McConnell didn't want to denounce and say, I won't support Donald Trump, because there's all the room in the world under the Republican big top, the tent for these white supremacists, anti-Semites, all of them. It's really disgusting, but it's as expected these days. I think we should stop calling on them to divorce themselves from this.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I have no faith in their, let's say, authenticity. There is none. They simply respond to political winds and nothing more. All right, we will update you as that story develops with white supremacists and Trump.